Good evening, Pramod. Good evening, Ryan. Hi.
Good evening.
Was it a busy day for you? We just went live and we are waiting for the attendees to come in and for the restreaming to start. So, okay. So, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming to the 7th webinar in the YouTube Can Run webinar series. And we started this ever since the lockdown started, and we intend to keep going on this. In case you don't know, YouTube Can Run is a sports management company that has got features and offerings. We like to call ourselves the one-stop shop for everything in running. We have registration platform. We do some of the best race management. We have a Race Smart, which is a calendar of running events that has got a lot of value add features. We do a photography tool. We have an athletic card that's like a privilege club, and so on and so forth. I am Venkatraman. I am the founder and the CEO of YouTooCanRun, and I've been a runner for a pretty long time. I will not go into details. Today's webinar is about food, training, and immunity. And on the panel, we have Ryan Fernando, founder of Quad Nutrition, and one of the I didn't know until I was speaking to him that he has about 30-35 sports nutritionists under him. His list of clientele is one of the country's biggest list of clientele that I've seen. Some of the most leading athletes are with him, and I have known him from about I think 2013 or 14 when he first started. I was going through the videos, Ryan, and I saw the first video we did in Goa for the Goa River Marathon.
That has the most number of views, actually. That has the most number of views.
I know. So I was doing that. So we have welcome to the panel, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming here, taking time from a busy time. We also have on the panel Pramod Deshpande. Pramod is a software career executive, was rather, but he started running with Jayanagar Jaguars, and Jayanagar Jaguars is a training group that has kind of made a mark for itself. Today he trains about 1,500 runners. They have been completely up the curve on so many things. About 1,200 runners trained for the TCS World 10K last time. Numerous trainees of his have been podium finishers, and Pramod, with his organizational skills, has taken training to the next level as part of the Jayanagar Jaguars group. I remember Jayanagar Jaguars, when it was an RFL small group, some 10 people used to run back and forth in Jayanagar. I remember that group from that time when they separated from Bangalore runners and became JJ on RFL. But that's all good old days. Welcome to the panel, Pramod.
Thanks, Venki.
Thank you very much. Now, we will start what we decided today to do was that we decided that we will have Ryan present a basic primer on food and immunity, and then we will have Pramod present a basic primer on training and immunity, and then we'll go into the Q&A, and so the idea was to set a basic groundwork on how both these items are very much important for our immunity. Immunity has always been important. Cancer, AIDS, HIV, and so many such things, tuberculosis, all of these are, immune responses, autoimmune responses that play a critical role in the health of us. But what has happened now is that because of Corona, because of COVID, this topic has become even more interesting and something that has been talked about. Everybody is now trying to focus on that, especially when certain countries have taken the herd immunity approach towards dealing with the pandemic, as opposed to the lockdown approach, which many other countries have taken. So I will start with Ryan, and we will then go by that, and then we'll throw the floor open for the questions and answers. My team, we have this meeting is on Zoom, but it is also being restreamed on our YouTube, Facebook, and group. So you can ask questions as and when they come. My team is monitoring those questions. They will send it to me, and your questions all come into the same pool, and they'll get answered by the panelist. Okay. I'll pull up your presentation and we can take it from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Venki. So whilst you're getting the presentation up,
Sure,
just to
sure.
introduce everyone over here, my name is Fernando. I'm a nutritionist. I am the chief nutritionist at Kwa Nutrition. It's a small clinic which has about 40 dietitians, and some of them are sports nutritionists, some of them are medical nutritionists. The job of us is to probably take your dal chawal roti and make it much more healthier. So in this COVID time, I remember on day one, I released a document talking about vitamin D, vitamin C, turmeric, ashwagandha, tulsi leaves, honey, chawanprash, saffron. So for all the participants and all, I will be making available to YouTube can run a lovely PDF document called the Ultimate Diet Guide to Boosting Your Immunity in this trouble time. So with my presentation coming up, let's go very very quickly because I want to hear from you. So let's go to the next slide, which is a key concept that I want everyone to understand, that not everyone's getting the virus and not everyone's dying. That means there's a huge amount of immunity within the human population that doesn't allow some people to contract it, and those that are contracting, and in fact in Bombay I have 4 of my clients who have contracted him, and it's like the 12th 15th day they're at home, they're not gone to a hospital, mild cough and cold, but we are like huge amount of supplements in terms of glutathione, vitamin D, vitamin C. And one of my clients actually made this comment to me, and she's from a very very affluent family. She says, you know what, Ryan, the rest of my family is really down in the dumps too, have been admitted to the hospital, but I'm hale and hearty at home because I think the diet and nutrition and supplements that I'm following is just making me a superwoman. So I want everyone to think about this. Okay, the COVID virus is not going to go away. What can we do to boost it? So Pramod, next slide. Sorry, Venki, next slide. So right nutrition is equal to the tough immune system. And you know what happens is when we are running and we're doing weight training, and a lot of people nowadays are doing the intermittent fasting because they don't want to eat so much. So either maybe no knowledge of a correct diet, lesser calories that can harm you, though fasting actually improves the immune system. So if you do it correctly, it helps you. But if you're overtraining or not doing the correct sports nutrition, then you have a weakened immune system. And with lockdowns coming up, I'm at Bangalore, they're allowing people to start running from yesterday. So basically you're going to start running, but is your immunity correct with the right food? So today's lecture is all about the right food. So let's go forward. Quick tips. I want to give quick tips. Let's have amla, let's have oranges, let's have guava, let's have turmeric, let's have garlic. Garlic, I'm eating 3 4 pieces of garlic every day. I'll just cut up garlic fine, toss it into a pan, and I'll put my stir fry into it. Or if there's some dal coming to me, I'll ask them to cut up some garlic and do a little bit of a quick tadka to already pre-prepared dal, because I like a little bit more garlic, 2 3 bits. Yeah, you know that me and my wife are not doing a lot of kissing these days because the garlic breath is there. But jokes apart, everyone in the family should be having garlic, ginger, pepper, turmeric. These are 4 spices that should be there. If you can put some of this in a black tea. So I'm finding it difficult to get guavas. So what I say, okay, I'm going to have a more oranges. So I have 3 or 4 oranges in a day in the form of a juice. Those of you who are slim and trim like me, who are runners, can have a juice. Those of you who are a little bit on the motu golu side, trying to use running to lose weight, then just eat the orange. Eat maybe 1 orange a day. One orange will give you about 50 milligrams of vitamin C. Amla is amazing. I cut up amlas, throw it into a bottle, put a lot of salt, put apple cider vinegar, store it. Then every day I take out 3 4 amlas which are salt and vinegar. My mouth is actually watering right now telling you this. So maybe that's the way you can eat amla every day, by preserving the vitamin C. A lot of people say amla juice, which has a lot of sugar in it. Sugar, if you know, is a thumbs down. They are saying that the diabetics, the people with hypertension, the people with BP, the older people, because of the sugar, because of the overweight problem, they are more susceptible to the virus. And when they catch the virus, they're more susceptible to dying from the virus because of the attack on the human body system. So what I would say from 2 perspectives: if you're in the age group of 20 to 40, look at nutrition to be healthier, fitter, stronger, and not get the lifestyle diseases that the generation of 40 to 60 currently have, which is hypertension, high cholesterol, high diabetes, and everything. So these are the 3 4 foods that I would go into boost immunity. The next slide, which is all about the supplements that I had recommended. Again, a lot of people ask me, Ryan, is this safe to take? Something you can take: vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc. It's all found in the human body. Glutamine, the last guy over there, is an amino acid which makes up 60% of your muscle. Have you noticed when you get fever, you get body ache. What the body is doing is hammering your muscles to get glutamine out of the muscles, because glutamine is the bop of the immune system. So you want to be giving glutamine along with that orange juice, 5 grams and all. So if anyone gets a fever, anyone's a suspect for COVID, by the way, Qua Nutrition, my clinic, what we are doing is we're giving away a free nutrition advice to anybody who's tested positive and all. So please just get in touch with me. I do this kick-ass diet, which I think is the superhuman diet. And if Sushil Kumar could win 2 Olympic medals, and somebody's done the Guinness World Record of non-stop aerobics of 26 hours, and Tahir Merchant did the MDS in Peru, which is a survival race, then something like the COVID, if you're going through it, your diet and your supplementation during that period has to be really rock solid. So what is the dosage? Vitamin D, you could do around a 5,000 IU or a 2,000 IU a day. You can do about 60,000 IU once a week. People who have liver and kidney problems, please don't take supplements without the advice of me. So get in touch with us, book a plan at our nutrition clinics. Vitamin C, you can do up to 6,000 milligrams a day, in my opinion. So that's like, if you take the vitamin C tablet, that's like about nearly 12 tablets, but you don't need to take so much. I keep people between 2 to 4,000 if they have got the virus. If you don't have the virus, you just do 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams a day, and that's more than enough. Zinc boosts the immune system. Take zinc at night because a lot of people feel nauseous. NAC, N-acetylcysteine. It is found in all your cruciferous vegetables, broccolis, green leafy vegetables, and all. It's the most vibrant amino acid which goes into the liver and creates new life. So glutathione and NAC are two guys that I like to give, and there is actually research on how NAC has been used in antiviral replication in HIV cases. It's also used as antiviral replication and attachment in the common cold. So I had a few clients who got the common cold and they were shitting bricks. Excuse my language, but like, Ryan, I got fever, I got cough, cold. I'm like you got a lot of mucus. Yeah, yeah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, chill out. You don't have the COVID virus. You just got a cold. So people are also getting normal cough, cold, and allergies nowadays. So don't get stressed out. You're not going to die from the coronavirus if you are a runner, because I think you're already fit. And if you've done a marathon, there's no way this thing is really going to attack you. Get your immune system in place. Let's go to the next slide. So training has changed completely. Did your eating habits change in this lockdown? We are coming into the fag end of the lockdown. Hopefully, a lot of you have contacted us, but many of you have, just binged eat and ordered from Swiggy and stuff like that. So I hope you haven't put on too much weight. If you have, the virus is going to, be if it's lurking in a room of fit people and fat people, and people are not taking care of them, the virus is going to hit everybody. But the immune system is going to be saying, hey, this guy's runner, this guy's diet is good, so let's not attack this guy because we're going to lose the battle. Or even if you're attacking, your immune system is so powerful. So let's change your eating habits, and that's the most important thing. The next slide, please. So during the lockdown, you can use foods to increase your metabolism. Like you jump and run in one place and you increase your metabolism. Foods like eggs, chilies, spinach, whole grains, pulses, beans, actually raise the metabolism. I like these added to my diet. Now people say, which is the best? I just have one piece of advice as a nutritionist. No one food fits everybody's mouth. Like, I just finished an allergy test this evening of a lady, and it came back that she's allergic to eggs and she loves eggs, but she's saying, Ryan, there's nothing wrong with me. But we are trying to get her to the perfect body weight. And she's like, she wants to go from this perfection that she is already 61 to 57. So I said, okay, let's do the food allergy test. And she's, lo and behold, she's allergic to eggs. What's my communication to you? That when I'm recommending eggs and chili pepper or spinach, maybe that food might not agree with you. So please don't take what I'm giving you as the ultimate truth. Please take it not even with a pinch of salt. Please take it as, oh, I use those foods. When I eat it, I feel pretty good. So he said it's good, take it. If you eat spinach and your stomach feels bloated, you feel funny, you feel nauseous, then spinach is not for you. So please take all of this with a little bit pinch of salt. Next one, Venki. Foods to burn fat. Everyone wants to trim down the stomach lining and have six pack and all. I think running does help that. Do it. A lot of things that you can do is dalchini, cinnamon. 4 grams of cinnamon a day actually help in reducing belly fat. There are scientific studies out there. I love green tea. I love black tea. It has polyphenols which raise your immunity, also raises your metabolism, also works on the eye barrier for cataract. Hey, lemon. I'm having lemon water just throughout the day because I get my vitamin C. It blunts your appetite, kind of raises your metabolism. Moringa is our drumstick, and black coffee. Black coffee, by the way, if you take black coffee, I hope you do the gene test with me, because what happens is when you do black coffee, certain people don't process black coffee. But I do know that taking black coffee before like a gym workout really helps, activates the immune system. If you're feeling little sluggish, it goes. But if you're doing long distance running, don't have black coffee, because it'll tend to hit you and dehydrate. So you want to do sustained gels with little amount of coffee. Next slide. These are the low calorie foods. I tell people, eat a lot of rocket leaves, eat a lot of cucumber, apple, carrot. Everyone thinks, sir, I keep feeling like munching throughout the day at home. So keep cut vegetables on your dining table. So instead of going to the kitchen and picking up a bottle of beer or some aerated beverages or a packet of chips, crunch on carrots, crunch on cucumber, crunch on apples, crunch on arugula. At least you're getting good stuff into you, and I don't think these guys are going to give you that much of a weight gain. Next one. We need protein to keep our muscles going good. You know this better than me. In fact, most of you who take up fitness, to take up running, you know what are high protein foods. I'd like to leave you with this thought. People say dals are protein based foods. Just Google up 100 grams of tur dal. How much protein is there in 100 grams of rajma? How much protein is there? You'll normally find a range of 6 to about 15 grams of protein in 100 grams. So about 15% protein in it. So what I'm trying to communicate to people is that the rest of it is carbohydrate. So, you want to be bumping up your dals rather than having green, which is rice and jowar, bajra, wheat, oats. The chapati and rice are the high grain carbohydrates. Take that out, bump up your dals, bump up your beans. That can really help in your high, getting a better protein, giving you your carbohydrate as a runner, and you'll have a quicker and faster recovery. In fact, there was this one research paper when I was working with Nitin Rawat, and we did the analysis, and the tur dal has the highest antioxidant recovery for an athlete. So sorry, not the tur dal. What is the pink dal called? I forgot. Anyway, it's the orangish pink dal. So I forgot what it's called, but the orangish tiny pink dotted dal, that's the one that has the highest recovery. So if you're going for the Mumbai Marathon, you're going in from masoor dal. Thank you, Hiral. So the masoor dal is the stuff that really helps in recovery of athletes. So a bowl of that in the night before the marathon, after you finish the marathon, get that a lot into your body if you're a vegetarian. Next slide, please. By the way, I'll take a lot of questions after the session, so I'm going really fast because I want you to ask your question. Go to sleep early, please. Cortisol releases early in the morning when you sleep early, which means you're working out, you're running, boom, 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 boom. You're hitting your fat burning whilst the fat is peaking, and cortisol's like, hey, boy, kya ho raha hai yaar? But if you wake up late, the cortisol peaks in the afternoon, you're having a lunch, and also, boom, all of that just goes to your stomach. So this is a key thing, okay? Film stars and all, whenever I work with them, I say, get your beauty sleep, get your beauty sleep. You'll get 4 to 5% body fat percentage loss. Very, very simple thing. Many of you out there, just do one thing. Sign up and say, I'm going to sleep every day for early, like by 10 o'clock or 10:30. Do it for 1 year and just look at your fat percentage. Don't do diet, don't do exercise. You'll get a 5% body drop in your fat percentage. This is logical because late sleeping stresses you out. So next one. By the way, I can monitor this for you. So if you wanted to do it, know how to do it, I can help you out. My last slide today, before we take questions later after Sir Pramod speaks, NEAT. NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. You have to be neat in your house. When you do jadu, pocha, washing dishes, the intensity of the activity is so low that you utilize fat as a medium of energy. You see, when you run, you utilize carbohydrate as a source of energy predominantly. As you lower down the tempo, you switch to a fat burning. So I tell a lot of people that housework, and this is why our great grandparents, our grandparents were slimmer and trimmer than our parents. The reason being is our parents got the washing machine, they got the cars, they got the lifts, and we got Swiggy, Zomato, and Big Basket, where you don't have to do really anything in life. But this is it in a nutshell. If I could give anyone advice, I would say muscle is the only age reversible organ. So you have to exercise your muscle because it grows younger when you stimulate it to grow in your body. And not only walking or running, but even resistance training should be added to your running regime. It's very, very important. And Coach Pramod over here is a huge proponent of making his students take up strength training along with their running. So Venki, this is me. I would love to give time for more questions and all, and let people ask us what they want to know about diet and nutrition.
Uh, Thank you very much, Ryan. Very useful. Sets a ground base, so that we can develop the questions from that. Very well put presentation. We will go to Pramod, and Pramod will talk about the importance of training. And between the two of you, what is the right balance to strike, and both when overdone can lead to undesirable extremes. We'll take that up after that. So, Pramod, I'll pull up your presentation.
Hello, everyone. I guess I'm audible. So, my presentation is coming up like Ryan did. Let me quickly go through who I am. Venki already told that I am the head coach for Jayanagar Jaguars, and we have training locations across India. So, Bangalore, Kolkata, Mumbai, Pune, Korg, and Hosur, etc. So around 76 training locations, and so we train. So whenever you are ready, I'm just using this time to introduce myself.
Okay,
so going to the next part is for immunity is about exercise, and this is about exercise and immunity. So what actually Ryan gave me a very good segue here about exercise, right? And he said that it's not only nutrition, it's both exercise and nutrition which helps, and he spoke very clearly about the muscle, right? And that's what the segue, and let's move on. So Venkat, if you can very quickly go to the next slide. Yeah, so there are, when we say both ways of benefits are there, right? Physiological benefits and psychological benefits. So let's first go through very quickly through the physiological benefits of exercise and predominant running, because I'm a running coach. It doesn't come to us the first benefit of running, but yeah, brain, right? Stimulus of the neural growth. That's where the brain benefits. Then the next one is the cardiovascular, right? Typically, when we talk about running, we understand cardio, but the vascular part doesn't come to us that much. But the vascular part of making the blood go to the all extremes of your body is also very important benefit of this, and especially when it comes to immunity, that's the key factor of immunity, about the blood flow, and that's the cardiovascular. The next part, of course, is the respiratory, and in current situation, that is where the attack is happening, that especially the respiratory system, and of course running and the other exercises as well, but running or the endurance running typically helps this. And the last part of the benefits is musculoskeletal, right? More blood, red blood cells, the mitochondria, better muscle efficiency, stronger bones. And of course, when the bones are stronger, we are talking about bone marrow, and we are talking about immunity that comes into picture. So this is the general benefits what we give. Then what happens with this is our general health is improved, right? If you can just click next. Yeah, right. Once we'll have to go back a bit. So when the general health improve, right, overall health, our improvement in our immune response happens, right? And that is the area of interest for today's discussion. So all of this affect all these four systems, physiological systems. When they start working better, we get improved immune response, right? But these are social, physiological benefits. Now, if we go to the next slide, the psychological benefits are also very, very important. Yeah, positive attitude, then never give up spirit. Okay, right? And actually, running is known for better coping for depression, right? All of these psychological benefits are very important, because what happens is, if we can manage all of this well, if you can just click once, then we get benefit of better handling of stress. And stress is which hampers our immune response. So if we can manage our stress better, our improved immune response comes in, right? So that's how these are very, very generic benefits which comes as a when we start exercising. And if you go to the next slide just digs a bit deeper into the immune system part of it. So immune system is a collaboration of various cells, proteins, lymphoid tissues of organs which are dispersed throughout our body, right? And of course, I'm not a doctor, so let me stop here in terms of the definition. But what happens is, because of this, how exercises help this, right? So there are two ways exercise is going to help our immune system. One is the short term, where improved immune system, immune efficiency, right? So this heightens the immunosurveillance and immune regulation. That's the short term. Immediately when there is some infection, this is how the heightened immunosurveillance and immunoregulation is going to help, and that increases because of exercise. And the next part, of course, is immunosenescence, right, which leads to the deterioration of immune system with aging. And this really is the greatest benefit of exercising, because it retards this process of deterioration of systems, right? And that really reduces the risk of infections. So in a short term as well as in a long term scenarios, this really helps. If you can go to the next slide. So Ryan mentioned about overtraining just now, right? And Ryan also mentioned, okay, I'll come to that. So overtraining. Now, overtraining is a tricky thing, right? Something which is common for, or kind of fine for me, because I might not go beyond a half marathon, whereas the name Ryan took of Tahir, right, who is trying to run Sahara on feet, right? MDS is trying to do. His workouts will be overtraining for me, but for him it will not be. So it's very, very relative. And the second most important part of overtraining comes if you don't listen to Ryan's advice. That means if you don't get the recovery done by proper food, then any exercise can become overtraining, right? So that's where overtraining needs to be put in a perspective. But what has started happening is exercise immunology, right, is a developing field. And whatever earlier studies have shown is now actually people started realizing that can be challenged. And one of the important earlier thing was, if you do hard exercises, your immune system get suppressed. Now with new findings, that has been challenged. So if you see that graph, which is on the right hand side, shows that the moderate training, how it starts increasing, and at acute, how it starts creating some problems. But that was the earlier thinking. The new research with latest technologies has started questioning that open window. So earlier it was thought that if you run a marathon, after maybe a week or so, you are exposed to infections, and your immunity is down. But that's kind of now challenged. The point is, we need to keep things in perspective. Yeah, what is overtraining for us might not be overtraining for somebody else, and vice versa. But if we do proper nutrition and proper rest, it might not turn to be a overtraining for us. All right. So going on to the next slide, and if we can go to the next slide.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think this was the last slide.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is
So
the last slide. Yes,
these
sorry.
were the topics which I just thought in a quick sense where we should touch base upon. So I'm fine now. We are open for questions.
Okay. So, thank you very much, Pramod. Thank you very much, Ryan. Excellent, crisp presentations. It's a very complicated topic. We are constantly discovering how our immune system works, what makes it works. We know a bit of it, but we don't know a lot of it. We don't know why, the mother is having COVID symptoms, but the child is not having, which is, miraculous or whatever it is. The child is not COVID positive, and how can the child have better immune than the mother? And all these kind of amazing things, and there are no hard answers, but we are within the best possible body of science that we have. We are trying to answer this question, and we are hoping that our listeners, our viewers, take these points and they, kind of go through the pandemic unscathed and without having to, be to a medical emergency. There is one common point that is like a flux between the two presentations, and that is recovery. So Rand pointed out the cortisol levels and why to sleep early, etc. And Pramod talked about recovery and why recovery is important in immunoscience. So we know that there is sleep and the importance of sleep and recovery and all that. According to you, Rand, how does somebody know that is well recovered? And then I'll put this question to Pramod.
Sorry, how does somebody know he is
well recovered?
Well recovered. Okay. So
I'm a guy. I'm a triathlete, or
Yeah.
I'm the guy who's running his first 5K.
Okay.
And both of us have got a certain level of stress.
Correct.
How do I know as a layman that I've well recovered from a nutritional point of view?
Okay, so in a very layman term, you know it. That's one answer. Second, from my book, we'll ask you to take your resting heart rate on rest days. So when you get up first thing in the morning, just check your heart rate. If you're not one of the fancy persons who has one of those new watches, I wear the old watches. So I'll put my finger there, count 10 seconds, see my heart rate without even getting up, still in bed. I will just count. Okay, so I'm like, okay, if I'm at around 8 beats, 9 beats, I know that is my average of a good rest. But there are days when I'll go to sleep late, I'll watch some Netflix, or I'll have a whiskey at night, or my trainer comes in and we do a Tabata session or something like that. So then I know next morning my heart rate is around 8 to 10, sometimes 15 beats higher. So heart rate early morning and heart rate through the day. So you take a morning test, afternoon and midday, and you take 3 readings, so you get an average. And now what you do this for about 20, 30, 40, 50 days. So you'll have days with training, high intensity training, low intensity training, rest days, lockdown phase. You'll come to an average of knowing what is your graph like. From a blood test point of view, Venki, what you can do is you can do what is known as the ESR, the C-reactive protein. These are two inflammation markers. So, and another one is creatine kinase. So we can look at all of these, then that can also tell us whether you're recovered or not. So for example, let's say somebody comes for a nutrition plan with me. I will say for 2 days, don't work out, 48 hours, then take a blood test. Now, in 48 hours, most people should recover, not have any stress on their body, which means the genes inside of you are quickly repairing your body. Your food is repairing your body. Your sleep is repairing your body. Now, if any one of these are not working very well, 2 days later, when you do the blood test, if I get your C reactive protein, creatine kinase, or even markers like your liver enzymes, they are slightly high. Like there's an enzyme called alkaline phosphatase. A day before yesterday, I did a case and the report came to my desk and I just asked 2 questions. Did you keep 48 hours between the last exercise and the blood test? Yes, sir. I think you are overtraining. sir, I didn't even tell you my training schedule. How do you know? I'm like, because you're breaking down an enzyme in the body called alkaline phosphatase. So that's like alarm bells for me to kind of give an indication. Long term, simple things. Your muscle percentage instead of going up is actually dropping, and your fat percentage is going up. So people are losing weight, but they're losing muscle in the weight, and that is also another place where the stress recovery. So when I put all of these into a juggling pot, I'll juggle all of them and say, "Oh, okay. No, you're not very recovered." And I'm working with these guys in Bangalore called Dozy, and they are developing a sleep a device which you put under the mattress, and that's measuring your heart rate variability through the night. And so they are making an algorithm of various things to give you what is your daily recovery. So the device is available in the market. I have a coupon code if anybody wants it. It's about $6,000 or $7,000. I have an amazing one here under my desk, and I can get my report on a daily basis. Maybe once you ask another question, I'll find my report and I'll share it with everyone. What's my stress factor and everything every day.
So, I just want to tell everybody before I put this question to Pramod that at the end of this show, we take about a day, but we edit the video and we put exhaustive show notes on YouTube, on Facebook page. So whatever is referred to in this discussion, we take it and then we put it in show notes. So just wait for a day. You will get all the products, all the tests that Ryan has talked about. So if you missed it, don't worry about it. Of course, the recording will be available anytime. You can go back and listen to the recording. But the show notes will go up within about 24 hours from now. So, okay, thank you, Rand. Very, very interesting. This you gave us a simple, layman's RHR kind of view and what medical test to do. One last question before I go to Pramod is that in the testing, what is the role of neutrophils, and how does neutrophil and lowering the level of neutrophils in the blood, how does that correlate to immunity? White blood cells. Rand?
Sorry, I was reading a question. What was the thing?
Well, the question was, what is the role of neutrophils in doing a blood test? White blood cells.
The role of neutrophils will basically, you see, when you do when you overtrain, certain things like your lymphocytes will drop, and your neutrophils will either rise or drop depending on your genetics. So it's like for me, for example, when I run or I do any exercise, mine's ulta of an elite runner, which is why I can't do long distances, because the next day I'm extremely sore. And why this happens is, see, when you run, there's microscopic trauma inside the blood, inside the tissue, inside the cells. So now these scavenging cells, the neutrophils, the killer cells, all which are part of your immune system, go and do the necessary scavenging and repair. So scavenging of your own damage is one aspect of the immune system where neutrophils are involved. Another is the scavenging that can happen because of virus and whatever today's discussion is about. So just exercising can put you in that drop zone that Pramod said. And because people don't take enough of good nutrition, which is basically the proteins and the antioxidants, then you don't have the raw material to resynthesize your entire what we call as a hemogram profile, which is your white blood cells, the lymphocytes, the killer cells, the neutrophils, the basophils, even simple things like platelets. All of these things require to be raw materially synthesized with good food from your diet.
Thank you, Ryan. Pramod, sorry we kept you waiting. We want to hear from you as a trainer. How does, let's say typically you're in the morning, there's a training run happening, the lockdown is lifted, and I believe in Bangalore you can now start running. We are still in the red zone in Bombay. How do you figure out whether your trainee is fully recovered or not? What are the rules on the ground where anybody can follow?
Yeah, of course. The first thing I always advise them, just what Ryan said, is about resting heart rate, especially those runners who are doing extensive training. They can see that effect very well. And when I'm saying extensive training, these are the runners who tend to overlook or push back the effects of overtraining, whatever they are feeling. they still try to push themselves. So that's where I tell them that they should do the resting heart rate check, keep a track of it, and they will realize. But for those who are new or who are not pushing themselves for some very specific target, or let's say BQ or something, those challenging targets, there are telltale signs of overtraining. Is of course the muscle soreness, and not all muscle soreness of course leads to indication of overtraining, but yeah, muscle soreness is one. Second is, in spite of you trying to do your given workout, you can't perform the way you want, and you start abusing yourself, saying that I could have done this and I am not able to do this. That's another telltale sign of you not recovered from your earlier workout. Third is of course the agitation what you carry, right, with you during workout, after workout. So all these are things which I pick. And if your trainee is in front of you, you can really make sure, really figure out if he is in a great mood, then he is not really overworked, he is at his peak. But if you look at them, you can figure out that they're pushing themselves, but they are not recovered from earlier workout, and they are kind of getting into a overtraining phase. But the corollary of this, of course, is our mind plays a lot of tricks on us, and as you become experienced runner, you realize whatever the trick mind is playing, saying that you are overworked versus you are not overworked. But it's a tricky situation to figure out if you are overworked. An experienced coach definitely can do it, but individually, the HR rate, like Ryan said, the muscle soreness, your ability to push yourself. So these are some of the parameters which you should look at if you think you are overtraining or not.
Pramod, very good points. Today, what is happening is that because of this lockdown, there are all these kind of people going live and giving workouts. Everybody has a fan following, and everybody's going live. Various running groups are this, and I lost count of how many simultaneous live these are happening.
Everybody's an expert today.
Yeah, I know. So what is happening? I was talking to a few other people, and who are a part of this ecosystem, and they said that, Venkat, if you give a session on yoga, meditation, or stretching, flexibility, only 20% attendance is there. But if you say HIIT workout that will kill you, then there is 100% attendance.
Yes.
So everybody has this kind of liking of preponderance towards very intense workout. Okay,
right.
Which is all right. I mean, but in this pandemic, as a trainer, what is your view? Should people do such intense HIIT? In a normal time, from a training perspective, they can do whatever they want to do. From a immunity enhancing or suppressing kind of approach, what is your advice to people who keep on doing this? There are people who are attending a morning session, attending an afternoon session,
yes,
attending an evening session. All three are HIIT.
Absolutely. That's the thing. Actually, I was about to point out. There has to be a rhythm to your training, irrespective of whether you are in a lockdown or the lockdown is open. Just because there is somebody available doing a session in the morning of HIIT and I can do a session in the evening for yoga, that rhythm breaks down. And rhythm is actually very important. One point which I maybe have missed in my presentation, highlighting that the immunity will increase in a proper way if it is a structured exercise routine. If you break the structure, the rhythm, then it's very, very, it's possible that you might get that exactly opposite result what you are trying to do, because your body needs time to adjust to whatever the load you are putting in. And just because we are at home, can do a lot of sessions, we should not be doing too much and not give body time to adjust. If you keep giving body time to adjust, body will come up with amazing results. The immunity will increase, everything. But if you don't give that time for body to adjust, that's where the challenge starts. And like you rightly pointed out, right? For runners, when I do the sessions, we do every, so we never stop training people. We have modified workouts, we have workouts in restricted area and all of that. When there is a cardio kind of a session, I see a lot of people joining. But when on Wednesday we have workouts for gym, from whatever you can use from home and do gym session, the percentage will drop about. These are all runners. They think that they can keep on running and running and running, and they don't want to be, put on muscles. And Ryan also pointed that out. Building muscles is very important, and those kind of things. So, but when you are in training, your coach forces you to keep that rhythm, right? The coach will say that you have to go and do your strength training. In lockdown, that is not happening, right? So that's my 2 cents about that.
Venki, I just wanted to share my screen, if
Yeah,
possible.
very good. Yeah.
I wanted to share it on on this whole concept of yoga, walking, weightlifting, in addition to running. So if you look at over here, the red cells means fat and the yellow means carbohydrate. So it's your body has two batteries. As you fluctuate your intensity of training, so a very conditioned marathon runner will have such a low heart rate that they will actually utilize fat and carbohydrate equally, but somebody who's not conditioned will utilize more of the gold. So the lower intensity activities of walking, yoga, weightlifting, when added to your running schedule, actually allow you to target fat as a substrate medium. But the problem is everybody's looking for maximum calories. So if you really want to target fat, you have to do a little bit of a longer duration with yoga, walking, or weight training, and the heart rate doesn't go up so high. So you don't get that endorphin release, but you get the fat burning and you get the muscle. And muscle is the only age reversible organ. Muscle is the only age reversible organ. So if people can just get that into their head, that in addition to running, in addition to taking care of their body via exercise, if they stimulate the muscle with more than their body weight, they will then grow the muscle to allow the muscle to take care of your blood, your immunity, your burning of fat, and everything.
Thank you, Ryan. Very, very important point. Ryan, while we have you here, what is your take on processed foods? I have seen this, that there are these processed food shops, which sell ready-made packaged stuff, which I call junk food, actually, pardon my saying so, but, I don't need anything that comes in a packet kind of philosophy. There is a queue. The shop opens at 8:30. The queue is there from 8 o'clock. I mean, there are longer queues there than there were in those proverbial liquor shops when they opened up. So what is your view on processed food and immunity and inflammation?
Okay. So, like, see, for me, for example, I'm a nutritionist. I'll always try and tell you that, oh, it's so important to do diet plan. It's so important. This is required, that is required. So we all are experts in our domain, and we will find a way to convince you. Now, in food manufacturers, they either use advertise or they speak to you. But now we have become very smart. So what they do, they've figured out the salt, sweet, sour, and umami taste. So scientists have figured out how to use certain chemicals or flavoring compounds, whether artificial or natural, and create that blend. So your food, like for example, if you eat a chips, it fires your taste buds completely and you cannot stop. Do you know there's something called a crunch bite in chips? And based on the crunch sound, it goes back to your genetic evolution of chomping, which gives you saying that I've got a good apple or I've got a good fruit, and that's going to give me nutrition, or a nut is giving me nutrition. Second point, did you know that most wheat and milk compounds have an opioid structure in it? So 90% of your processed foods are made with maida. So whether it's your noodles, your chips, your junk food, your kurkures, your fryams, your South Indian papadums, whatever it is, the wheat in it contains a molecule very similar to opioids. So when you have more of the refined flours, the sugar one gives you a spike, so your brain's like, wow, sugar, 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 give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Second is the opioid type molecule goes into your brain and sits and then goes, wow, I feel good. So whenever you go past, one is you have enough money in today's day and age, nobody's starving. In fact, look at this lockdown. It- Most of 90% of us in cities have got the food to our doorsteps. I had a client today from London. He's an Indian squash player stuck in London. He says, Ryan, it's crazy over here. I go to the supermarket, there's nothing on the shelves. I'm like, hang on, I went to Namdari's, everything is on the shelf. Okay, so BBC is nicely playing these documents of India being this lousy nation and all, and I'm hearing an Indian over there saying like people are running on the roads without masks, they have no things and all, and I'm like, whoa, so the world is same and we are far better off. But anyway, deviating, coming back, this processed food, simple thing. If you are to have a junk food, keep a track of it. So let me give you an example. I love salt and vinegar chips. I buy one packet per 3 days. I portion control it. We are creatures of our taste bud also. Me being a nutritionist, I will give you an honest confession. So what you do when you're buying this junk food, you try and limit it. Venki, you are very, very disciplined because you had a condition and therefore you have to be. So I call you what is known as a pain. If you were my customer, you would be a pain customer, PAIN. Why? Because something has attacked your body and caused pain to you. So the pain that is inflicted on you, you slap your taste buds and say, boss, behave yourself. Whereas the rest of us who have not experienced that pain, we let our taste buds rule our body. And then what we do, we let the taste buds rule the body, and then we go to Pramod ji and say, Pramod ji, jitna bhi petrol tanks yahan hai na, usko nikalne ka hai.
Okay, so thank you very much. Uh, we'll take some questions, and we are kind of running out of time. There's a question. This is more regarding training, but I'll still put it. It's from Jyotirmoyi Banerjee. Sir, can you please tell us your takes on training plateau? So if somebody is regularly exercising, they hit a plateau. They need to change their regimen to avoid the plateau. So I think this question is over to you, Pramod.
Yeah, I just saw that. From training perspective, very important and pertinent question. So plateau comes from two aspects, right? Very broad aspects I'm talking about. Of course, the physiology part of it, and plateau also relates to your mental, the psychology part of it, right? It is not only either of them. It's a function of both. Uh, so of course, you have to change your training regime. Try to add more rest and take Brian's advice for recovery through food. Try other aspects of recovery like massage or ice bath, whatever suits you. But recovery, paying attention to recovery is very important. So when you hit a plateau, it's very clear that you need more recovery, right? So your training regime adjustment should involve more recovery. Recovery also will help you clear your mind, because what happens is we go after some goal, and if we can't get to where we want to go, we kind of stuck into a plateau. So as I said, it's a function of both. So a regime change definitely will help you in both. And please do not hesitate to ask questions to somebody, a coach or somebody, because whatever amount of training you are doing, maybe whatever experienced runner you are, some coach will look from outside and can tell you these aspects required to change in your in your training. Yeah, so both your training regime and pay attention to your mental aspects as well. Yeah, and rest. So that's the answer from my side for this.
Venki, there was a question from somebody with regards to joint pains and diet.
Correct.
Because how to make athletes joints more stronger, somebody asked how can I prevent my joints from getting inflamed. So this joint problem is there in a lot of runners, and so you understand it from two perspectives. One is what is known as mechanical injury, and the other is chemical injury. Chemical injury is you eating the wrong food. Like, let me give you an example. Certain people get very high uric acid. Uric acid are crystals which go and deposit between the joints and create a abrasion and destruction, what we call as rheumatoid arthritis and or gout in severe cases. So certain people do not produce an enzyme called uricase which breaks down uric acid, and certain foods have high content of uric acid. So the answer to most people is one, like you go to a shoe shop and put on a shoe, try out the shoe, move it around, check it out, and if you're like a elite runner, you'll get a gait analysis done. What you do is with your food, do a food sensitivity test, because a lot of foods nowadays are creating kujili in the body, which are causing your immune system to go into auto mode, autoimmune. Now the immune system goes to, oh, your virus, slap. Oh, your sugar, slap. Oh, you are the joints in the body, give one slap. Oh, you are thyroid, slap the thyroid. That is called autoimmune. Your immune system starts attacking your body. One of the first to get attacked is joints, another is skin. So reduce the triggers by identifying, and no one food fits all. I just did a lady today, and it came back that she can have only buffalo milk. She can't have any other milk. So she's like, how do I know it's buffalo milk? I said, "See, listen, don't ask me how. I don't know where the buffalo and cow and all. I have found out that you should have buffalo milk. That is one reason why your joints are getting inflamed. Let us take 42 foods which are sensitive to. We'll keep it out of elimination, and you try and eat the other foods. So that's there. Collagen and gelatin really, really help in rejuvenation of the joints. So marathon runners that come to me, I look at collagen, I look at gelatin. I look at curcumin, which is the extract from haldi. I look at vitamin D. I also look at hyaluronic acid, glucosamine sulfate, and MSM. Now, when I give these things out, Venki, is very important that people should not self-prescribe, because, like, somebody just asked me, astaxanthin, is it good to boost immune system? First of all, I would give astaxanthin, but I would look at the background of the person. In astaxanthin, it comes from sea origin, so you may have an allergy. So while taking astaxanthin to help you boost your immunity, it might cause a side effect. So always when you take supplements, take it under guided advice. The reason supplements have not been regulated is doctors refuse to prescribe supplements because they are not drugs. And you laugh at a doctor if he gives you supplements like, ye kaun sa doctor hai, mere ko dawai dene ka supplement diya. So supplements have become a pariah. And the nutritionists, when we studied in college, we were told, no, 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 no. Diet is the way you should do. So somehow this supplement was a middle ground guy, which nobody took credibility. The trainers came in and started saying, oh, you know what? I know everything about supplement. I'm going to recommend supplement. As a result, when the pressure is there on the trainer to deliver a fat loss or a result in the human body, they put these powders and pills in and say, yes, yes, you can take it. It's very safe. I always say, do it with blood testing, do it with a professional who has a nutrition or a medical background, because after all, it is a food supplement.
Thank you, Ren. And I would like you to send me a list of what you spoke now, because it will be there in the record. So we'll put it in the show notes, so it will benefit everybody.
All right.
Also relevant links to, whatever you have referred to. I think that answers Vinita Muni's question. Praveen Kumar as, hi Praveen. Overtraining can be easily measured in terms of HR, stress, inflammation. Yes, that is right. Overtraining is unique to all of us. Yes. I also wanted to say, I have found that some people have a 48-hour recovery cycle and some people have a 72-hour recovery cycle. DOMS is also something very funny. Sometimes it comes within 24 hours and goes out in 48, and sometimes it comes in 48 and goes out in 72. So yes, recovery and overtraining is very unique to all of us. You answered Vinita Muni's question. Praveen Kumar talks about resting heart rate and feel in the legs, whether your legs are feeling heavy, especially your quads. What do you have to say about this, Pramod? Feeling of the legs in the morning when you get up, besides of course the resting heart rate.
Right. So that's what I said. I just used the different word, muscle soreness, and it need not only be in quads. Right. It can be in your glutes if you are trying to run fast. If your glutes are not strong enough, you can feel that muscle soreness in your calf. So muscle soreness, especially in the lower part of your body, half or part of your body, lower half, is a sign of getting overtrained. Right? That's what I just said. I just use word muscle soreness. I meant to say the same thing.
Venki, there's one point on this. I somehow, when athletes come to me, they feel the soreness and they say they've overtrained. But there's one element you need to keep in the background, that there is genetics for vascularity. the angiotensin gene, which basically your blood vessels will expand or close. That's one. So the removal of lactic acid over 24 to 48 hours in terms of vascularity. Second is your body's mitochondria's ability to chomp on, eat up lactic acid. So certain people have enzymes that eat up lactic acid much faster than people who don't have an endurance gene. So you will tend to develop a lot of lactic acid, wherein the hydrogen ions don't allow the muscle to fire, so they feel very tight. So there could be a nutritional deficiency in terms of a B12, a magnesium, a calcium, because all of these go towards removal of lactic acid. So in addition to knowing that it's an overtraining, it could also be a background genetic type of you, that you may not be designed for a marathon running. You may be designed for a 21K. So we do the gene test to figure out your flexibility gene, your recovery gene, your fatigue gene, the tendon gene, ligament gene, all of these things, so that when you know your real level and then you push your body to that peak of a level, then you know that if you go beyond that, you're really overtraining. Otherwise, you could be having 100% potential, but because you've never trained your whole life, you train till 20%. You think, oh, I reached my stress has come and it is high level. So this is the way that the world is now moving into figuring out what's your peak potential, and then how you can just keep touching at the bottom of that, so you're always at the best possible training.
Very good. Thank you, Ray. There's a question from Prashant Kotari. Prashant is from Aurangabad. Prashant is from Jalgaon. Sorry. Hi, Prashant. What is the unit called for analysis sleep? Please share good make available in the market. I think you mentioned about Dozy.
Yeah, I've typed it up. I've typed
it
up and sent it to him what he needs to do.
Sure, definitely. Okay. There is another question about testing. There are two questions. One question was whether you should take 24 hours rest before you take test. And the other one is about frequency from Vaishali Shah. How frequently an athlete should go for blood and other important micronutrient tests. So maybe you can answer them in a combined way.
It's very simple. Okay. My elite runners and all, I'm testing them once every quarter. If they have a major race coming up, then and if they don't have two major races in a quarter, then one blood test is enough. For the Aam Aadmi, I'd say minimum once a year. Let's look at everything so that you can run without damaging your body. And if you know your liver, kidneys requires issues, ferritin is low, iron is low, do that. So ideally, I personally check my blood test twice a year. I do a Jan blood test and I do a July blood test. So it kind of keeps me in check. Normally in July, I don't do the entire parameters again. I do the parameters that was deranged in January. So that is a strategy people can use.
Thank you. There is one question again from Anirudh Athani from Nasik. Thank you, Anirudh, for asking this question. Would you recommend beetroot juice, pomegranate for runners? What time of day would be best time to take this?
Okay, so beetroot has high nitrates. Nitrates do vasodilation, so it removes your lactic acid, gives you the speed in running and all. Research has shown beetroot taken 3 hours prior to the physical activity at around two medium-sized beetroots. You don't need the fiber, you just need the juice. You can cook it, you can bake it, you can boil it, you can fry it. Pomegranate helps. The seeds in pomegranate it has a unique omega-5, not an omega-6, an omega-5 fatty acid called punicic acid, which actually helps in recovery. But this was done in petri dishes. So, but I thought, okay, petri dish, it works. No, chalo, theek hai, I'll give pomegranate to people. So it does work. But just for all our audience checked in today, even better than beetroot is rocket leaves, because rocket leaves has a high. So if I were you, I would do guava, beetroot, pomegranate, and I would do some rocket leaves in my salad. So that would bump it up. Don't try and do beetroot before your run, because it's going to be sloshing and you'll feel a little discomfort. Do beetroot through the day as part of your diet. Your urine turns pink sometimes and your potty turns reddish sometimes. Don't worry about that. That is a pigment in the beetroot.
Okay, good. There is a question about what is the best food for recovery from an Indian cuisine point of view from a long distance runner.
I would say, obviously you have to focus on carbohydrates first, and most vegetarians, the protein is low. So I would definitely do a protein powder along with good carbs. Now, what are the good carbs? If people can have sweet potato is one of the best in my opinion. But even your simple rice, jowar, bajra, grains, these work good. And if you remember what I said earlier, your dals contain nearly 60 to 70% carbs in it. So if you can learn how to make a suka dal or add dal to your chapati or rice, or in the olden days the farmers ate this much of rice, this much of dal. Now what you should do, you should eat this much of rice and this much of dal. That should really really help in faster recovery with Indian cuisine.
Thank you. There is a question regarding drinking lots of water for weight reduction. How much water should one take? This is from Utkarsh from Lucknow.
So I believe drinking water is a case to case basis. Like what's your weight, what's your fat percentage, what's your muscle percentage. We normally work out a calculation. It's quite lengthy, and then we come to a conclusion. Most people between the weight of 50 to 80 kgs require between 2 to 3 liters of water. Above 80 kgs, you go beyond 3 liters of water. Uh, Again, if you have the gene that stores more salt in your body, you don't need to drink that much amount of water. But if you're the one who passes out more electrolytes and salts from your body, then you need to consume more amount of water. Water is the most debated and most unanswered question that all the medical experts can never give you a straight answer. Even I can't give you a straight answer. It's a case to case basis. I have a simple thing: check your heart rate. Drink one day 2 liters water. Next day your heart rate is lower, 2 liters is good. Your heart rate has gone higher. Next day drink 2.5 liters. Oh, heart rate has come down. You'll find a balance for water in your life. Look at your urine. You have something known as a urine meter. Your urine needs to be like a straw yellow color, very light yellow, almost transparent color. That's the best thing.
There is this question from Manohar Rodrigues of Villapala, MRR Manohar. So, this is from the wrong end of the elementary canal, okay, Ryan? So he says that during the lockdown, due to lack of activity, restricted bowel activity in spite of high fiber diet and also working out. So can you suggest how to increase motility?
So gut motility can happen because of lack of water. So you not want to gulp water all the time, but sip water throughout the day. Number one. Number two, I will tell you for my own personal experience, because I'm sitting at home in the lockdown. Because if you come to my clinic, I'm standing and doing my counselings, but at home I've not built my office with my standing desk and all. So I'm sitting 8 hours a day. So what happens is there's no physical movement of your stool to come through. So your 1 hour workout was same as earlier a 1 hour workout. So in the office you'd go walk here, walk down, go to your colleagues, have a cup of tea, yay, whoa, and all that stuff. There's a movement. So if you can get moving and walking in your house, that's another thing. Increase fiber in the diet. Coconut water has soluble fiber that works. Prunes I've seen are amazing in terms of moving the gut. So around 5 o'clock in the evening, 2 prunes. Prunes is like a bada kishmish. And in terms of probiotics, there's something known as Bifidobacter brevis, which is used to improve the softness of the stool and the stool motility. So I use this in elderly patients who are plus 50 and have piles, hemorrhoids, constipation problem. It's available in most pharmacies, but again, it should be done under prescription. A probiotic also helps in bowel movement, basically.
I will ask this question to Pramod. Vinita Mooney is asking this question. I don't know if Vinita is Divesh's wife, but yes, if you are, hi Vinita. Does fatty liver affect running?
Not really. I have not come across so far, and I come across at least 6,000. So I've not seen that really affecting running. Of course, you have to take advice of your doctor, but I have not seen any great danger or anything really hampering just because of fatty livers.
So if I can just add on to Pramod's thing, what I would do as a nutritionist is, if your diet is not in place, then the running invariably adds a load to your body, because you're breaking down muscle, and the muscle processes the broken down muscle amino acid. So your SGOT, SGPT, GGT, alkaline phosphatase, as I said earlier, all go up. And fatty liver, anyway, these levels are up. So you want to be focusing very aggressively with a fatty liver on your diet, so that you're not breaking down too much of muscle. You can continue to run. So A person with fatty liver is like, a simple way would be to say that if I got a cut on my leg, can I run? Yes, you can run, but it's going to hurt. And how much you run depends on how much that's going to open up. But if you take care of the wound, it's going to work. So the thing that a person with fatty liver needs to do is use diet to aggressively get it in line, because normally fatty liver can come in from the hepatitis virus, so then you can't do much, you have the fatty liver. It can be genetic, or it can be just too much of eating, so your visceral fat, your fat starts depositing near the liver. So most of the cases I have seen, the fatty liver is lifestyle induced. It is not from the hepatitis, it is not from the genetics, it is definitely just wrong eating habits and stress that brings in the fatty liver.
Okay, I think we'll take a last question. There's a question from Anand Pete that, other than lipid profile, which test to do. They will be there in the show notes. We will list them out. Every 6 months, I'm doing lipid profile. Again, Ryan has given his point of view that if you're a very serious athlete, then maybe once a quarter, otherwise at least once a year. Last question we'll take is from Dinesh Kumar. How to find ideal recovery time, since few gadgets like Garmin give long duration, and that too I feel is inconsistent. Pramod, over to you.
Yeah.
How to find ideal recovery time? Because gadgets like Garmin are not the correct measure.
Yeah, so a rule of thumb is, you should take, if you are training for something like marathon, if your mileage is more than 50 kilometers a week, at least 7 hours, minimum 7 hours, then think whether it is enough or more. Yeah, but go at least for 7 hours. That's a very quick answer to this.
I want to add something here, which is not, in the context, is that we have this over dependence on electronics, and we don't listen to our own bodies. We expect some chuna dabba, which is a Bombay phrase, in the hand to tell you what your brain can connect your muscle and tell you, or your resting heart rate can tell you. so this over dependence on technology is also not advisable from my school of thought.
Yeah, and we know how we program, right?
Correct.
From software, so we know how we program, how mistakes can happen. That's apart, but over dependence on. So for that, we have created actually something. What we will be releasing soon is, you answer some of the question for yourself, and that will give you an idea about whether you are how your body is in a state, whether can go for a hard workout or can go for a not that much hard workout. So that's a questionnaire which we are building. It's depending on exactly what you said, it's your feeling of your body, and we will be publishing very soon. That's absolutely important. What you said is absolutely right.
Correct. This is the last question which I will take. Anirudh has asked this question. If a person has cravings, nibbling on snacks throughout the day, consuming sugary foods often, what would you advise him?
So basically, sugar cravings is an indication of insulin resistance. The insulin is misbehaving in your body and saying, "Give me more sugar, give me more sugar." So first things first is a blood test is required. Check for the HbA1c, if whether you're going in the pre-diabetic or diabetic zone. Number one. I also know that sugar craving comes in from magnesium deficiency, calcium deficiency, iron deficiency, because the body craves the sugar, thinking as evolution, if I get a sweet fruit or something, there'll be a lot of minerals and stuff like that. Third point, when you run and train a lot, you deplete your glycogen. Glycogen is a glucose stores. So the body wants to store that glucose. So if you're an elite runner and you do a lot of running, now you've come into this lockdown period, you continue on that same pathway of taking the same amount of sugar. Quick tip to people, tulsi leaves. Chew a few tulsi leaves, that suppresses your sugar cravings. You can use Trident chewing gum. I've used it very successfully. I love Trident chewing gum. I have no commercial to have with them. I've tried different chewing gums. They don't work, but the Trident guy works. The third one is dark chocolate. More than 70 to 80% dark chocolate has enough of magnesium. And I've seen, it takes time to get used to the taste of it. But if you start bringing that in regularly and it agrees with your body, it agrees with your tummy and everything, I've seen people's sugar craving come down. And you need to work with a nutritionist, because people eat so wrong. They do not know how many calories they require. So the calories are either overshooting, undershooting on a day-to-day basis. So because of that fluctuation up and down, that riff-raff of fluctuation, your insulin doesn't know how to behave. So one day it's saying, oh, give me sugar. Next day it's saying, oh, I got too much of sugar. Next day, little sugar. So that yin and yang of the sugar not being balanced, because we don't know how to eat out of science, we eat out of love and culture. I think people just need to portion control. Like, if you exactly portion control your food, I guarantee you, you will not have sugar craving because of lack of carbohydrates. You'll only have sugar craving because of a mineral deficiency then.
Thank you very much. There is a question from Puneet for the contact numbers. The show notes will have all the contact numbers. I would also like you all to know that Pramod has published a very nice book on running, lot of body of knowledge. We will put a link to that book in the show notes. Watch out for it. Give us a day or two. As soon as my production team is ready, we'll do that. Thank you, Vamsidhar. Insightful session. Vaishali, thank you very much. So here is the last question, and there's a trick question. Okay, I want to spring this on both of you. It's a moral question. We know this concept called herd immunity, where the immune system develops the pathogens and adapts the pathogens to the virus, and therefore people, as a herd, become more immune, and that passes on. So now I am a runner. I herd ran. I did everything that he told me to do. I didn't eat those chips. I ate those apples. I did all the correct things. I heard Pramod. My immunity is at its best. Okay. Should I be wearing a mask or should I not be wearing a mask? Because if I pass on my immunity to the others, they will also become more immune because they will have that transfer of herd immunity. So, it's a moral dilemma. So, what is your answer to that, Ryan? And then I'll take Pramod's answer.
My answer to that is this all speculation right now, that there is no data to show that you are developing a herd immunity. It's based on statistical data. So the fact that I will be giving you good bacteria, giving you good vibes or the good virus or whatever, which will activate, I don't think that's going to work. I think the vaccine that is going to come out is going to really work. I think we are trying to pluck at apples like, oh, we are India, we're 1.5 billion. So let's have something which is, I think we need to wear the mask. And for all those who are out there, elite athletes, for the longest period of time, we used to use special masks when training, which restrict airflow to develop lung capacity. So while articles are coming up on carbon dioxide increasing when wearing a mask and all, it's debatable. Like the Australian said, leave 63 meters between you and the next runner. So I'm not going to go into any of that. I'm not a virology expert. I would just say that if you asked me, when I'm working out, if I went out, I had a fight the other day in a toy shop. I took my son to buy something just 2 days ago. I told the people in the toy shop, put your mask on. Because people are putting the mask down and talking. I'm like, your virus is going into the shop. It's spreading there. And if I'm talking, my mask is not on, I am contaminating the world. So I think the mask is here to stay for about 4-5 months. I'm quite confident that we'll have a vaccine by about September. People should understand the vaccine will go to people who are sick. And I think by early next year, maybe by March next year, everyone should be able to just get the vaccine and jab themselves and be it. So about 9 months, we'll have to be cautious. That's my advice to everybody.
Pramod, your view on herd immunity?
Yeah. So herd ultimately that is what is going to take us.
Pramod, we lost you. I think we lost Pramod. Pramod, I think you dropped the signal. Okay, anyway, it's 8:25 and we short the time because the questions were really important and they kept coming. And there is no point in just shutting the webinar and not taking the questions. So thank you very much, everybody. And before we sign off, we try to do these webinars on a regular basis. Watch out on social media. As far as possible, we are trying to keep it for Wednesday evening because we think that kind of works for everybody. Do like our social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, YouTooCanRun. Press the bell icon to receive notifications. So that way, even if you don't see a mail, even if you don't see a social media post from us, you can be, if you're on YouTube, if you're on a mobile, the live video will start, and then you can take your choice whether you want to see it or not see it. The choice is yours. So thank you very much. Subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our notification button. The show notes will go up within about, say, 24 hours, maybe by Friday morning. And all the information that, rich information that Pramod and Ryan shared, and the PPTs, we'll put links to the PPTs. So, you all can go back to the PPTs and see them. And thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pramod. We lost Pramod. His signal dropped off. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you, everybody, for making this webinar very much possible. And stay safe, stay at home, develop your best immunity. I hope you never have to go to the hospital at this time.